Listen, there's something unsettling about silence. The way it lingers, the way it presses against a conversation like an invisible hand. Most people rush to fill it, desperate to escape the weight of the unsaid. But what if you didn't? What if, instead of speaking, you leaned into that silence? Let it stretch, let it breathe, let it become your most powerful tool. Michel Foucault, the French philosopher who dissected the mechanics of power, understood this better than anyone. He saw silence not as emptiness, but as a deliberate act, a way to shape discourse, to control dynamics, to influence without uttering a single word. This is the Foucault silence strategy, and once you master it, you'll never fear silence again. Imagine you're sitting across from someone who expects you to talk. Maybe it's a negotiation, an interrogation, or just a tense conversation. The air is thick with anticipation. They're waiting for you to give in, to react, to reveal something, but you don't. You stay quiet. Not just for a second, long enough that the silence becomes palpable. At first, they might hold firm, but then something shifts. Their fingers tap, their eyes flicker, they clear their throat, and then inevitably they speak. They fill the void, often with concessions, with admissions, with words they didn't plan to say. That's the power of strategic silence. It reverses the pressure. It makes them work for your attention. Foucault didn't just study silence. He exposed it as a hidden lever of power. In his work on discourse and control, he revealed how institutions, governments, prisons, schools use silence as a form of discipline. The unspoken rules, the things left unsaid, these shape behavior more than direct commands. The same principle applies in personal influence. When you refuse to engage on someone else's terms, when you withhold the expected response, you destabilize them. You force them to recalibrate, to question their own position. And in that moment of uncertainty, you gain control. But this isn't just about staying quiet. It's about precision silence, the kind that's deliberate, calculated, and unnerving. Think of a skilled interrogator. They don't barrage their subject with questions. They let the silence do the work. They ask something pointed, then wait. And wait. The human mind craves resolution. It hates loose ends. So when met with silence, it races to tie them up, often by confessing, compromising, or revealing more than intended. The same applies in everyday life. A boss who pauses just a second too long after you ask for a raise. A partner who doesn't immediately respond to an accusation. A salesperson who lets you sit with the price without jumping in to justify it. These are all applications of the Foucault silence strategy. Now, let's dissect why this works on a psychological level. When two people converse, there's an unspoken rhythm, a back and forth cadence that feels natural. When you disrupt that rhythm with silence, you create cognitive dissonance. The other person's brain registers it as a threat, not in the physical sense, but in the social sense. Are they being ignored, misunderstood, outmaneuvered? The discomfort builds, and to relieve it, they'll often concede ground. Studies in negotiation tactics show that the first person to break a silence usually loses leverage. It's why FBI hostage negotiators are trained to outlast the other side in pauses. It's why poker players use silence to bluff. The message is clear. If you can endure the silence, you win. But there's an art to this. Bad silence is awkward, disengaging, a sign of detachment. Strategic silence is charged, intentional, a form of active listening turned into a weapon. The key is presence. You're not just mute, you're observing. You're watching for micro-expressions, shifts in posture, the subtle tells that signal discomfort or impending concession. Foucault's insight was that power isn't just about dominance. It's about perception. When you're silent in a way that feels deliberate, the other person assumes you're holding back for a reason. They start to wonder what you know that they don't. And that's when their position crumbles. Let's apply this to real-world scenarios. In a business meeting, instead of rushing to defend your proposal, try this. Present it clearly, then stop. Let the silence hang. Watch as colleagues scramble to fill it, often with praise or minor critiques that reveal their true stance. In a conflict, instead of escalating with words, say one pointed sentence, then go quiet. The other person will either mirror your calm, de-escalating the situation, or unravel, exposing their emotional state. In sales, after stating your terms, pause. The client will often negotiate against themselves, offering concessions you didn't even ask for. There's a deeper layer here too, one Foucault would appreciate. Silence isn't just a tactic, it's a form of resistance. In a world that never stops talking, that bombards us with noise, choosing silence is a rebellion. It's a refusal to play by the rules of instant gratification, of constant engagement. When you're silent, you opt out of the game. And that's terrifying to those who rely on your participation. Think of the politician who doesn't respond to scandals, letting the media frenzy burn itself out. The celebrity who ignores rumors, starving them of oxygen. The executive who stays quiet during a hostile takeover, leaving the other side guessing. These are all high-stakes applications of the same principle. Silence deflects, silence unnerves, silence controls. Of course, this isn't without risks. Used poorly, silence can read as disinterest, hostility, or weakness. The difference lies in how you wield it. Your body language must remain open, but unyielding. Your gaze steady, not evasive. Your silence should feel like a pause, not a full stop. And crucially, you must know when to break it, to strike with precision when the other side is most vulnerable. Foucault's work reminds us that power is fluid, and silence is just one current in its flow. So the next time you're in a high-stakes conversation, listen, not just to the words, but to the silence between them. And when the moment is right, don't speak. Let the silence do the work for you. Let it unsettle, let it persuade, let it dominate. Because once you understand the Foucault silence strategy, you'll realize the most powerful thing you can say is often nothing at all.